I'm Charles from Swords and Rifles. Welcome to this Conquest First Blood Rules Summary. I'm very excited about these new rules and will be posting battle reports on this channel. This is Parabellum's skirmish game to accompany its large battle game, The Last Argument of Kings, but it is not a small version of that. It's its own beast. I want to go through some of the differences between First Blood and Last Argument of Kings. One of the big differences is there really are no units. You build your war band based on units, but there's no requirement for them to stay together. So there's no unit cohesion. Each model is going to be activated independently. Now, your models can move around independently, but if they go out of the command range of the leader, or the standard, they can't get the benefits of those two other models. So it helps to keep them together, but it's not a requirement. There's also no command stack. Your cards are shown face up to your opponent, and you pick the card that you want to activate. And there's only one card per type of unit. For example, for men at arms, you're going to have one card for men at arms. That keeps you from spamming um, different units, like the 100 Kings player having 3 or 4 different units of household knights, for instance. So I really like that, the no spamming. City states are an exception. They can use a command stack that gives them extra benefits. But overall, you pick the card that you want to activate. Another big change are the attacks or opposed dice rolls. So unlike Last Argument of Kings, you're not just rolling dice and then rolling your opponent rolling for hits. You're going to roll attack dice, keep the number of dice equal to your clash value, and then your opponent is going to roll for blocks. The defense stat is the number of dice that he would roll. Also, the list restrictions. I already talked about spamming units. List restrictions are built. There's a chart in the rules, allows you to have heroes, monsters, depending on how many points you play. Up to 1,000 point games, you are allowed one monster. You have the one warlord, and you can have up to 2 heroes. It seems like 1,000 points is about where it is um, balanced, but I don't know that because I have not played any games over 1,000 points. One thing I really like about First Blood is it's very different than the Last Argument of Kings. The earlier iterations of First Blood seem to want to be the Last Argument of Kings light. And at that point, if you're playing First Blood, then there's really no reason to play that if you can just go ahead and play Last Argument of Kings. So I really like how First Blood is very different. It's its own game. It has its own strategy. It does have some of the rules. Obviously, it's going to have rules commonality with Last Argument of Kings, but it's very different. I also like that you can use terrain. For Last Argument of Kings, many players use two-dimensional terrain or they have minimal terrain because it is a rank and flank game and you're playing very large battles. With a game like First Blood, where each model is independently based, you can really get the full effect of your terrain collection, including two-story houses, walls, hedges, woods, and things like that. Also, for new players, you can play First Blood while you're building the Last Argument of Kings army. First Blood is not meant to be a replacement for Last Argument of Kings, but building a 2,000 point army takes a while, um, especially painting and assembling. Also, many people can't afford to purchase a 2,000 point army all at once. So, First Blood is a great game to play. And then, obviously, the models are all interchangeable with the Last Argument of Kings. Also allows you to explore other factions. For example, I play mostly 100 Kings city states, and I have a Dweghome army as well. But I've thought about other factions like Sorcerer Kings. The models are very nice. Some of the newer factions like Weaver Courts or Euroni. This allows me as a painter to explore other factions, even though I don't plan on building 2,000 point Last Argument of Kings armies, but I can still paint the models and collect them. And as usual, Parabellum has outstanding support. Unlike other companies, Parabellum's rules, Army app, all the Army lists are always free online. Many of you already know about the app, but everything is free. Unlike other games where you're having to buy new codexes, you're having to download constant updates. There's all types of cards that go in and out of use. And then in a couple of years, everything you bought is obsolete and the new edition is rolled out. So you can spend more money on books and lists that you're gonna have to rebuy in 3 more years. So Conquest Parabellum is a breath of fresh air from many of the standard miniature games out there.
Unlike the last argument of kings, there are no reinforcement rolls. During deployment, each player reveals a command card. When that command card is revealed, those models are placed within 3 inches of the card. Players alternate revealing cards. The cards cannot be within 9 inches of each other.
There are 4 phases to a first blood battle round. First phase is supremacy. Both players roll 6-sided die. Whoever has the lower number wins supremacy. If it's a tie, whoever has less victory points receives supremacy. Number 2 is the command phase. This is very important. The supremacy player is going to go through each character, and each character is going to perform a command ability. Most warlords have at least 2 unique command abilities, and then heroes usually have a unique ability. And leaders of units can also play a command ability. I've not seen a leader that has a unique ability yet, but I've not looked at all the factions. All 3 types of characters, however, have some abilities that anybody can play. The first one is Rallying Cry, allows you to rally a broken warrior in your command range. Press forward allows you to move your full march movement on your second march action, and duel allows you to challenge an enemy character in your command range to a duel. Also, spellcasters during the command phase will roll 6 dice, and any dice that's below their spellcaster rating allows them to collect an essence. They'll use these essences later to cast spells or incantations. It's very important, even though your groups of models really aren't units, they cannot benefit from any of these command abilities unless they are within the command range of a leader or a character. Next is the action phase, where players are going to alternate activating command cards, activating groups of warriors back and forth. And then finally is the victory phase, where you will tally up victory points and determine if there is a winner.
Unlike Conquest, the last argument of kings, models are free to move away from leaders and standards. Each model is activated individually. For instance, this militia has a march value of 5, so his first march action, he can go out to 5 inches. His second activation could be a march as well, however, it is halved. He can move further 2.5 inches. However, since he is now outside the command range of the leader and the standard, he does not benefit from any of the advantages of being close to those 2 models. There is no charge action in First Blood. Models just simply move up their march movement. In this case, the 100 Kingdoms Household Guard to the left is going to charge the City-State Hoplite to the right. The Household Guard has a march of 5. He's going to move up. He does not have to be in base to base. He has to be within the 1-inch engagement range. This counts as a charge. The Household Guard has 1 attack. He gets a second attack for being inspired. Since he did charge, that'll be 2 attacks. He has a clash of 2, which in this case doesn't make a difference because he's only going to have 2 dice anyway. He's going to roll a 5 and a 1. The hoplite has a defense of 2, but he does have a shield, which allow him to reroll blocks of 6s. So unlike the other game, Last Argument of Kings, you keep those dice out. In this case, the hoplite is going to roll 2 block dice. And he rolls a 5 and a 3. He blocks the 5. However, this hit goes through, the 1 is lower. In addition, the Household Guard has Cleave 2 in First Blood. Every dice roll lower than the Cleave number, which in this case is 2, would reduce the defender's block dice. So in this case, he would lose 1 block dice anyway. So he would be taking 2 hits. Once you have 2 hits, or once you have a hit, you have to roll for resolve. The hoplite's resolve is 2. He rolls a 4, so he would be removed as a casualty. If he would have passed, he would have been broken, reduced to 1 wound, and he'd have to make a 2-inch backwards move, like so. Another common rule is outnumbering. In this case, the hoplite is attacking the Household Guard. However, there is another hoplite in the engagement range of the Household Guard. Therefore, he'll get a +1 because this counts as outnumbering. So the hoplite has 1 attack. Assuming he charged before this, he would have 2 attacks, 1 for the Inspire, plus he'd get a 3rd attack for outnumbering the Household Guard, and he would roll 3 dice. Outnumbering does not work if the second model is also in the engagement range. In this example, the 2 hoplites do not outnumber the Household Guard because there is a second Household Guard in the engagement range of the second hoplite. In this case, you have a cavalry charge against a unit. This 100 Kingdoms Household Knight has just charged the City-States hoplite. He has Impact 2, which gives him 2 impact attacks. He would roll 2 dice. In this case, the 6 would be discarded. He has a 2. He also has Brutal, which lowers the defense of an opposing model -1. So the hoplite has a defense of 2. However, he's down to 1. He's going to roll a 1, which actually blocks the impact hit. After impacts, then the Household Knight has 2 attacks. He would get 2 further attacks, and he would be inspired since he did charge. The Household Knight and the hoplite also have shields, which would allow them to re-roll 6s on their block dice. And just like before, the Household Knight can benefit from a friendly standard within command range. He could re-roll 6s on failed resolve checks. Shooting is very similar to melee actions. In this example, you have a 100 Kingdoms Longbowman in the trees. He is going to shoot at the City-States Phalangite. The Longbowman has Barrage 1, Volley 2, 14 inches, and Armor Piercing 1. So Barrage 1 gives him 1 shot. He's going to roll the dice. He has a 6. That would be an automatic failure. But let's say he rolled a 3. That is a hit. He has Armor Piercing 1. The Phalangite's usual defense is 2. However, it would be down to 1, and he'd have to roll a 1, which he does in this case. But let's say he rolled a 3 or a 4. He would be take a wound and have to roll a resolve check. If he passes the resolve check, he would be broken. This is different than Last Argument of Kings. In Last Argument of Kings, shooting does not force resolve checks, but they do in First Blood. Magic works differently in First Blood than in Last Conquest of Kings. During the command phase, each spellcaster is going to roll 6 dice. So this 100 Kingdoms Chapter Mage will roll 6 dice. She is a spellcaster at 3. So anything below a 3, she would keep. In this case, this was a disastrous roll. She did not get any essence this turn. Let's say she got a 2 and a 3, 2 3s. She would get 3 essences in this example. Essence does not carry over from round to round. She'd have to use them all this turn. She has 3 abilities. The first one is Warding Glyphs. This is a command ability. This counts, would cost her 2 essence. She would give all friendly models within command range. Her command range is 5. Would give them pavés. This is a +1 defense while they are unengaged. So this works really good against shooting armies. She also has an action, a unique action. She can cast Elemental Bolt. That would cost 1 essence. That is basically a barrage attack. It is barrage 2 out to 12 inches. She also has Enchant, which is an incantation. Incantations can be cast outside her turn. Enchant actually just gives a reroll to a friendly model, either on the attack or the defense, during when they have to roll the dice. She can only use enchant once per model.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this helped you understand some of the basic rules of Conquest First Blood. This video just scratched the surface. There are a lot of special rules. Some of the stuff I did not go over. Some things are, each army has its own rules. And so there's a lot here to get involved with. Hopefully you'll try it out. Thank you very much for watching. And if you like this video and want me to make more Conquest First Blood content, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.